All right, so anyway, this is the Ryobi pressure washer, 2900 psi. You want to make sure you've got gas, so you got to check in here. And you're going to look in there and you see it's empty, so we have to put gas in this to run it today. So let's go ahead and just close that up for now. All right, next what you want to do is check the oil. So you just turn it. To get the cap off, I twist it to the left. You'll see this is up. And then I'm going to scrape a little bit off here, and then I'm just going to wipe it on here. Try not to drop it. And when I put it in, you're going to see there's a little level there. And so I'm going to turn it righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, pop it off. And then I should be able to look at it and see if we've got enough oil. You can see we're definitely full. We're good. So that's good. We got that done. So we checked the oil. We checked the gas. We got to put gas in the quick. I've got a small area that I'm going to pressure wash today. So I'm not going to put a lot of gas in there. The way this works is I've got to squeeze this like this to get the gas out when I pour it in. Then I can get it right in there. I've got to squeeze this to do it. I'm going to pour it in there. Then make a little squeeze. Just enough to put your gas cap back on. You just slip it right here, twist her on. And so if you look over here, it's telling you that there's some kinds of gas that they don't want you to use. I guess the stuff that has a lot of ethanol in it, that's that corn stuff, they don't want you using that. So, try to get cleaner gas. So my brother-in-law took the spring out of here. And he's got this because he has a delicate sensibility, so he wanted to lock this on, but that's dangerous. So, I don't recommend doing that. This is aftermarket. He drilled a hole in here and he put this thing in there to push this out, to supposedly to keep that, locked shut or open. Anyway, it's not a good thing. But you're not going to see this on the one that you bought. This is a modification. This is a modification done by my brother-in-law. So you can read here, it's dangerous. This is dangerous. If this thing's fully open, if you got it clamped down when you start it, this is going to shoot everywhere. You don't want to put your eye out. So I don't recommend doing this. Not a good idea. All right, so another tip, if you've been pulling on this and it's not starting, and you've got a warm engine, you've got it on run, and you smell the gas, that means that you flooded it. So what you have to do is wait about 5 to 10 minutes and then come back and try to start it again. All right, so anyway, this here hooks in this way, and what you have to do is hold this. And then you're going to spin this really the opposite direction, left. You have to go lefty-loosey to tighten this on there. And you got to hold this while you twist this. And that's kind of counterintuitive because usually we go to the right to tighten. So I'm going to put this other hose on here. And this one here, of course, I go to the right to get it on. And we are on. And this one up here has already been twisted on. To take it off, I go to the left. To put it on, I go to the right. Let's go ahead and take it all the way off so you can see. Just like that, right? Come up into it. And then you're going to go to the right. And just squeeze on. Make sure you get it on there tight. Otherwise, you may have a problem. Bam, done. All right, so that's all set up. And so next what we've got to do is take the wand out, set the wand down. All right, and we're going to go ahead and fill her up with gasoline. Warning on this side too, this thing gets super hot. Try not to touch it with your leg. This gets hot up here too, so try not to touch that with your leg. Make sure that you've got enough hose. I got about 100 feet. But before you do anything, make sure you turn on your water before you try to start your your Ryobi. And make sure that your your hose doesn't have any kinks in it all the way through. I've got it draped over here, and it could get a little kink in there, so I got to check that and make sure the water's getting through to it. You've turned your water on, just double check and make sure you don't have any kinks in it, and that there's no leaks. So here's where you could have a leak, here's where you could have a leak, or there's where you could have a leak. And then let's look at our hose. See, we've got a kink here. That's going to stop the water flow, so you make sure you get that open. And then up here, I got to check this and make sure it's not kinked. There we go. So it's got a good flow coming through. Otherwise, that is not good for your pressure washer. And then before you try to start it, you want to purge this. Okay, so what I'm just going to do is pull it. You can see it's purging. I'm squeezing this, and we got water coming out. That's what we want before we try to start it. I'm going to use this thing that my brother-in-law did to keep it from turning on, so that that is closed. Now we're going to go ahead, because we're going to do 40% on this. That means it's going to be wider. You could do 25%, but you know what? I found that the 40% works best for cleaning off the walkways. So again, the process of starting it, you check the gas, we check the oil. You've got this on run. You're going to have to put it on choke when the engine's cold. You'll know the engine's cold because you haven't run it. If the engine's hot, you leave it on run before you start it. Over here, you got to make sure that you've got open gas flow. So we just turn that to open. And basically, this is your start procedure. It tells you here, if you can't remember, you could do a screenshot of it. And to turn it off, remember, you have to press this and hold it. Press it and hold it. So it should start right up, and we should be able to go over here and do our pressure washing. Now what you want to do is you want to keep this thing away from a closed area like this where it could build up the carbon monoxide. So I'm going to shut the garage door. Put my coffee up here for now. And if you're cleaning something that's noxious, you should have a mask. You could use a mask like this or one of these, but I'm going to use this N95 and these goggles. I've got some good shoes to protect my feet against the power washer, just in case I hit my feet with it. If it's going to be chemicals you're cleaning, make sure you have a good mask. Or if you have a lot of dust or anything you're allergic to, an N95 mask will protect you. Get something to protect your eyes also. You don't want to lose your eyes. Because this is gas operated, you've got to make sure that you don't have it the exhaust going inside of your house or anywhere somebody's going to breathe it and die. Now I've got it set outside our garage, but what I'm going to do is shut the garage door so that the fumes don't go in there and they just dissipate out here. So I want to move this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the handle here, turn it, and at the same time I'm going to pick these up so that I can just roll it back where I want to put it. And I think I'm going to put it out here a little ways, so we're away from everything. I think that's going to be good. Then I'm going to check and see if I've got enough room for my wand and hose to do the area that I want, and make sure that I'm far enough away from that so I don't have to breathe the fumes. And I do believe we've got enough room. Got plenty of hose here. It's a little tangled, but I have to untangle it. This hose gets a little bit tangled out, so I've got to kind of untangle it. The way I do that is it's kind of like this. Just basically, I'm just kind of moving opposite the direction with it to get her to be a little bit untangled. Like that. You can see it kind of untangled. There we go. Now we've got enough room so we can do our pressure cleaning. Again, we're going to make sure that we don't have any kinks in our hose. We got good flow. And now we're going to do the start procedure. So we know we got gas, right? We checked the oil. We've got this turned on. Looks good. Now we got to put this to choke because the engine is cold, and that's where you want to start it. As soon as I pull on this and it starts and I hear it, I want to run it back to run. So I'm going to move it first to here, Then we're going to give the pull, and then as soon as it starts, it's going to be loud. I got to kick it back to here. Otherwise, I could blow my engine. So I'm going to get a little bit of pull on it. I'm going to put my foot here and give it a pull. There we go. Okay. Pop this off of here. Double check. Yep, on 40. And let's go over here. Let's do one of these. Working pretty good. All right, here we go. And you can see the difference between these two. All right, we'll finish them up. So anyway, we ran out of gas right at the right time. And if I hadn't, what I would have done is just pushed on this and held it, and bam. You can look in here and see we're empty now. I'll show you. See, empty. So that's good, because when you store it, you don't want to store it with gas in it. That's the last thing you want to do. And then just, you know, even though there's no gas in there, just close this off. That's the smart thing to do. And then we've got to put it all away. So right now there's water being pushed into it, so we've got to turn the water off first. Before we can disconnect the hose, you got to make sure you turn your water off. So that's what we're going to do now. Get the pressure out of it before we disconnect everything. Let's just go ahead and hold the trigger, kind of let this drain. So we're basically kind of purging it. We just want to get that pressure out of the hose as much as possible. You can see we've got some water in there still. That's a long hose with a lot of water. We'll just let that continue to do its thing. And now we're going to come over here. We've got to unscrew it. Now remember, we went to the left when we began, so now we got to go to the right. But when you do that, you've got to kind of hold this part of the hose at the same time you turn it. So we're going to have to use two hands. To disconnect this, I've got to hold this and then turn this to the right. We're going to get some water pumping out of it, as you can see. Not too much because we drained it, but you got to remember there's a bunch of water in there. Just let it drip a little bit before we finish it. So anyway, hold this, twist this to the right, and bam, done. Now you could take this off too if you wanted to, or you could just roll it up and leave it on. You just got to go lefty-loosey. And I might just leave it on the gun, you know, and then we just got to roll everything up, put it away. You're going to notice with this hose, when you roll it up, you get these kinks in it. So you want to try to get it as orderly as possible when you roll it. And you got to get it so that your roll is not so deep that it hits the ground here. So that's important. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and take it off of here. Lefty-loosey. Make it easier to roll up. And maybe I'll put it back on after I get it all rolled. We'll set the wand down. And then what we want to do is just want to get it to about this length of circles. You can see it's already kind of conforming to that shape. Almost there, and bam, there we go. Now all we've got to do is pull this out, wrap this through, and then I got to shove it through this little thing here, pull it, and then it's Velcro. I just got to get the Velcro on there, and then it should just hang there. Should be good. Just so you can see this, what we do is, so we wrap it around just like we did. We go through this little doohickey here. Pull it. You can tighten it nice and tight. You're pulling on it. And go all the way around and just Velcro it. and then that should just sit there. Then they have this little holster for this bad boy here, and it's supposed to just kind of lay in there. And that's basically your setup and your close up. And now it's ready to go ahead and store. All right, if you like this video, subscribe to my channel and check out my other awesome videos on stuff like this.